Hey YouTube, how you going? Just want to do another video on the world's toughest mudder rule changes or new rules for 2013. This came out the other week and I've been meaning to do a video ever since then. I got some kind of ideas and thoughts about it which I want to share with you. Before I get into that, as a lot of you who've been watching my videos will know, I'm trying to get over to the Spartan Race World Championships in Vermont. I literally leave in 9 days, and very fortunate enough to be selected as part of the Southern Cross Spartans team that our league over here in Australia has put together to head over there and compete. It's a bare bones trip, but unfortunately, you know, we're trying to raise as much money as possible to cover the kind of airfares and that, and the team's done a great job of that, but there'll probably be a bit of a shortfall. So I'm running my own little campaign to try and help, you know, get me over there and cover a few of the costs. So if you do get any value out of any of my videos and want to throw a few dollars my way, there'll be a link down below. I think the biggest thing that's come out of World's Toughest Mudder with the rule changes and everything like that is the concept of the penalty obstacles. Last year, if you failed an obstacle, in some instances it was simply failing was the penalty. For example, the balance beam stuff, you fell in cold water. For other things like the first rung across on the monkey bars, it was, you know, a little extra run, maybe 150, 200 meters at most. Same thing with the gymnastic rings to swing across. If you fell, you had to do a little bit of an extra run. Now, although it did suck having to do the extra run, in the grand scheme of things, you know, a couple of 100 meters each lap isn't really going to change the nature of the race. It's still just running, it's still just moving forward, and that kind of stuff. And also it takes out the need to train upper body maybe as much as you would with these rule changes. For example, if you're a great runner, a lot of runners, for example, want to minimize upper body training, because if you put too much mass on, obviously you're heavier, it's going to slow you down when you're running, you know, 60, 70, 80, 90 miles. And you could get away with that at last year's World's Toughest Mudder. You know, if you failed, you're just doing a little bit more running. This year, it's completely different. So, Tough Mudder have introduced a thing called the burn zone penalty. Now, every participant must attempt the obstacle, which is the same. If you fail the obstacle, you have to do a standard aerobic/strength exercise in the designated zone next to the obstacle. Now, the burn zone would be determined by the intent of the obstacle. So, they haven't actually said what the penalty will be, but the way I kind of envisage it is that obstacles that are hard, for example, the high Berlin walls, which can be a bit of a challenge to get over at like 3 a.m. in the morning, or the gymnastic rings to swing across, that kind of thing. If you fail that, maybe the penalty obstacle is going to be something as demanding as a burpee. Alternatively, if you do something like a balance beam and you fail, maybe it's, you know, some body weight squats, or I don't know, I don't think they'll do star jumps, that's a bit weak, but you know what I mean. So the harder the obstacle, the harder the penalty if you fail. And obviously, I think Pack last year said he did 3 laps without fail on any obstacle. So people are going to be doing a shitload of penalty obstacles. There's just no two ways about it. And what that's going to do, in my opinion, is slow down the pure runners, who I think Pack would definitely fall into that pure runner category, in my opinion. It's going to slow down some of those guys and be beneficial to maybe guys who run at a slower pace overall, but are better at getting through every obstacle. Now, I'm not sure if there was anyone at last year's World's Toughest Mudder who got through every lap without fail on any obstacle. I highly doubt it. And it may be the case that someone like Pack, anyway, is the best at the obstacles. But I do just think it opens the race up a little bit more, which is fantastic. And because it is an obstacle race, I can see the benefits in doing this, because the idea is to complete the obstacles. If you just doing the obstacle and failing and then doing a little bit of an extra run, really, in the scheme of things and the idea that trying to promote as an obstacle race, it's not, you know, obviously I highly it's not really what it's all about if you're just failing and doing a bit of an extra run. And I think last year as well, where they had like the ice bath, Arctic Enema as a penalty obstacle as well, it was a little bit weak, to be honest. You were already cold, so getting cold again didn't really matter. So I think that's great that they've done these penalty obstacles. I really think it's going to open up the race, as I said. And the other thing as well is that, you know, it's gonna create more and more gaps in the field, and those gaps might not be sustainable. But say, for example, you're in like a group of 3 or 4 guys, and you're all the front runners, and one of you fail or 2 of you fail on an obstacle, and you got to, you know, do 30 burpees or something. By the time you finish, the other guys are going to be, you know, 2 or 3 minutes up the road, and you're not going to be able to catch them unless you put in an effort to do so. However, expending that energy to catch him may be in vain, where it's better to kind of maintain your consistent pace and just hope that they fail on another obstacle later on. So it kind of opens up that whole strategy side of things as well, which I think is pretty cool. On top of that, guys, there is a few other changes that I just want to run through. I'm just kind of bringing them up here on my computer so I don't forget them all. The main one, of course, being the support crew. Now, the support crew, in my opinion, well, let's start with this. Last year, I saw people drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee who were World's Toughest Mudder competitors in the pit area, and clearly there were people who had friends and family there who were supporting them over the fence or sneaking in or whatever the case may be. Because I did 100% without a word of a lie see people drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I don't know if they were drinking it and then like they'd gone and got their friends to get it and they were drinking it and then they were going to quit, or if they were drinking it to kind of keep going and just warm them up a bit, that kind of thing. But either way, I don't think that, you know, you should be drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee in the area, in the pit area last year, because the whole concept was to have no outside help. This year, if you're drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee, well then, you know, maybe it's because you do have a support member. So the just scrolling down. So the support crew, they're only allowed in your area up until 10 PM, I believe. So, to be honest, the benefit of the support crew isn't going to be that great, because until 10 PM, most people should just be doing multiple laps, smashing them out, no problems whatsoever. It really was that 10 PM to maybe 3 AM time where you're coming into the pit, you're cold, you need to change gear, take off shoes, that kind of stuff, where a crew member would come in handy because your hands are cold, and it was very hard to get back into gear. I remember last year, for example, I was, you know, there was like 3 or 4 competitors in my little area. We were all trying to put on gear, and we had to help each other out, you know, pull up gloves and get the zipper on the wetsuit, that kind of stuff. So that's where I think the support crew would be more beneficial, but obviously they're saying that they're only allowed there before 10 PM. So I think the main benefit to this is going to be, A, they're just going to be able to have like your food and more drink ready to go, chuck it in. B, it'll help if you do want to change gear early on. C, if, you know, they can help keep your tent organized and that kind of stuff. So if you just need to run in, grab stuff, run out, and not worry about kind of packing it away and making sure stuff isn't getting wet and kind of frosted over and everything like that. Other than that, I mean, you know, it's just going to be moral support and stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think they're going to make that big a difference to the overall kind of outcome of the race. I think the main difference is going to come, as I said, from this penalty obstacle, and also from the category winners being the fastest lap in the beginning, because if someone's going out for that win, for that fastest lap thing, you as an overall competitor, do you mark that person and hope that's what they're doing? Or do you try and stick with them because you don't want them to finish lap 1 and then go off and do lap 2 and then, you know, still be ahead of you over and over and over again? And then B, also with the night ops course, you'll have the same thing. There may be a couple of competitors out there who are deciding, I want to win the black ops. Now, as a competitor who's going there, who, you know, for the overall thing, again, you've got the same situation. do you hope that they finish the Black Ops and they don't have as many laps as you prior to starting that, or that after they finish the Black Ops that they're going to be so spent they're not going to be able to fit in that other 1 or 2 laps, early in the morning kind of thing, and that you'll then be able to retake the lead. So it kind of opens up, as I said, to a lot more strategy and really thinking about who do you mark, who don't you mark, how hard do you go, and that kind of stuff. So that's my thoughts, guys, on the World's Toughest Mudder official rules. Let me know your thoughts, comment below, and thanks again for watching.